board will now come to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Tyus. Alderwoman Middlebrook. Alderman Bosley. Alderwoman Hubbard. Alderwoman Ingracia. Alderman Kotar. Alderwoman Rice. Alderman Gunther. Alderman Balmer. Alderwoman Martin. Alderwoman Murphy. Alderwoman Howard. Alderwoman Green. Alderman Oldenburg. Alderman Rhodey. Alderman Todd. Alderwoman Davis. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Muhammad. Alderman Boyd. Alderman Vaccaro. Alderman Narayan. Alderman Cone. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Alderwoman Boyd. Alderwoman Navarro. President Reed.
Here.
Alderwoman Tyus. Alderwoman Ingracia. Alderwoman Rice. Alderwoman Green. Alderman Rhodey. Alderwoman Davis. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Muhammad. Alderman Cone. 17 present.
Quorum being present, we will be led today in prayer by none other than Donnie Moore, the younger brother of Alderman Sam Moore. Sam was the fourth child. Donnie is the seventh child of 16. So, Pastor Moore.
Thank you, President Reed. Can we all stand? Dear God, we thank you again for allowing us to come together. We thank you for all that you've done and those things that you're going to do. As we say so often, you've been better to us than we've been to ourselves. In lieu of all of the health pandemics and things of that nature, God, we thank you for knowing that you're going to be a covering for us. Not to panic, but this is also a cause for us to pray. Bless this assembly and all that it undertakes to do, and we should ever give your name the praise. Thank God. Amen. I want to thank President Reed for this opportunity, and I have just a few things that I wanted to read, as well as give this thank you card from my siblings. I want you to know that we really do appreciate what you were able to do for my brother. Some faces I recognize, and some faces I don't. But for every member, every ward, alderman, as well as ladies, we want to thank you again. I'm not the smoocher, as Sam was, but I'm here if you need me. Maurice, Tom, Tracy, Pastor Watson, I want to say thanks for allowing us into your family and your lives. It's been a great run, and I hope this is not the last time that we'll see each other. Although my brother is no longer with us, I know he's here with us in spirit. And I want to say thank you. I noticed Alderman Muhammad took it real hard, and there's a lot of adjustments that all of us will have to make. But I want you to know thank you very much to the mayor and to the city of St. Louis. Where's Middlebrook? All right. I noticed that Alderman Moore, President Reed, took a lot of her candy. So now she's going to have to share with you all. There's enough candy for Middlebrook to have Alderman Reed, and hopefully she will share, and I will make myself available for at least the next 6 months. Amen. And we thank God for you all. Shaheen, is that you? Thank you, and knowing that you're going to mature even greater. We've heard a lot of your conversation, and we trust and pray that you maintain all that's necessary to be the best that God wants you to be. We thank God for each of you again. And then to the Alderman, the president of the Board of Aldermen. Let's give him a hand. I didn't want to blindside him, so I gave him some heads up. And I'm speaking on behalf of my siblings. Sam is physically no longer with us. And brick by brick, we're going to try to regain our family structure. And because of that, we're going to ask Mr. Lewis Reed if he would fill that void. We're going to provide some adoption papers for him. And we're going to see if he would be able to fill that void as a family member. I think that he would be able to fill that void very well.
I don't know if I'll feel it, but I certainly appreciate being an adopted brother.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And being an adopted brother, that means we will all be meeting at one of the finest restaurants in the city on our adopted brother. I was hoping that he would accept that. But again, sir, thank you very much. This is going to be a challenge and a struggle. The struggle is real. But again, I have never seen so much of an outpour from people and the love that you have shown. I greatly appreciate it. Thank God, and may God continue to be a covering over this assembly, whereas the decisions that are made for the people will be continuous and in our favor. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. Can everybody please, who's able to stand, just please stand. Let's give Reverend Donald Moore a really big round of applause and thank you. Let's show appreciate it. We're going to miss our brother Sam. We will suspend with our regular order of business to take up our courtesy resolutions calendar. Alderman from the 22nd, you recognize on the motion for the courtesy resolutions calendar.
Mr. President, I move to adopt the courtesy resolution calendar.
Moved by the Alderman from the 22nd, seconded by the Alderman from the 10th. Alderwoman from the 26th, would you like to approach the dais?
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Thank you, Mr. Moore, for that tribute. There's a lot going on this morning. I'm excited. I got so much love to the right of me with my sister Teresa in the building, and I got all this love to the left of me. And I called my sister up here too. We gonna. I should have done it first. I don't know why I didn't think about it, but she's definitely going to add her name to this resolution, co-sponsor this resolution with me, for the Billionaires Club that is in the house this morning. Y'all know I like to brag. Y'all might see it when I say I'm her alder lady too. So I'm gonna use my automatic bragging rights this morning. I'm gonna announce them to call their names to come up. But first I'll start with Miss Dallas Holland, whose business is all beyond everything. And I want to do a public thank you to her because a year ago when I decided to run for this office, not just because I knew her from the neighborhood, not just because we were neighbors, neighboring business owners in the East Loop, but just because of her spirit and her energy. She was one of the first people I called to help me and to get on my campaign with me. And she didn't give any hesitation when she said yes. And so I publicly thank you for that, sis, and I thank you for the energy. When you're running campaigns and when you're nervous, because I was alone a lot of time, I knew the kind of energy I wanted around me, and Dallas definitely has it, and all her sisters have it with her. So next, I want to bring up Tiffany Martin, who owns Two Heavenly Hearts STEMS Academy. Kiana Cannell, I hope I pronounced it right, who owns Luxor Salon in the 26th Ward, a new 26. Danielle Irving, who owns Heart to Heart Home Health Care, again in a new 26. Did I mention that All Beyond Everything is pretty much in a new 26 too? I'm still bragging. Nicole Coleman with King's Kids. She lives in a new 26, so I'm bragging. I take her too. Naisha West with Arkansas Fried Chicken and Grill. Who don't know about that, you better get to know about it on Martin Luther King. And we definitely want to also call Rashida Sims names, who owns Cycle of Life Home Health Care. So this Billionaires Club, and I'm not going to take away from it, I'm just going to read a little bit from the resolution because I know that their vision and their passion speaks to it. But literally it started maybe, about 3 months ago or so? About 3 months ago, and there are organizations that have been around a lot longer than that haven't had the impact that you all have. So I applaud that in you all. I applaud that in a time and a climate where a lot of people subliminally and publicly tear people down. You all came up with a platform and created a platform to build us up, to build each other up. And it works every day, and I see it every day, 24 hours a day. So the Billionaires Club is a growing club of entrepreneurs and professional African-American women. The mission is to shape a visionary future for entrepreneurs as well as aspiring entrepreneurs, the Association of Professional Women, and celebrate the elegant style and femininity in business. And people have noticed their femininity this morning. Look, the Facebook group, the Billionaires Girls Club, amassed more than 30,000 followers in 2 weeks, which shows that there was a need for the resource that allows women of color in business to gather and share best practices. They raise funds to assist in funding aspiring business owners, and their goal is to build up entrepreneurship in our community. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much.
If I could just add a few comments and definitely add my name as a co-sponsor, Madam Clerk. I just want to salute you ladies again because it makes me proud to see in our community when we have young black entrepreneurs. And Dallas, she owns like maybe 10 or 12 businesses all by herself, and they are successful businesses. And by me being a young black entrepreneur, when I saw it pop up in my feed, I think somebody had to invite me to it. I just jumped in, and I mean, nonstop since that time, and this, like she says, is a group that has grown to like 30,000 members. All you saw was uplift, black women teaching women from the very basic level. I mean, I put the city's link on there 1,000 times about the Business Assistance Center, and so there's just the camaraderie, the sisterhood, the growth. You know, God only chooses a few for the work. And you all definitely have been chosen. I'm grateful to be a part of your group, and I just love what you're doing. And I invited all of my cousins from all over the country, and it's people from many different states, and I just want to salute you all for having the vision, for helping uplift us all. So thank you so much for that.
Any further discussion? Alderman from the 22nd.
Yes, good morning, Mr. President, members of the board. I would like to salute these young women, young entrepreneurs. I am so inspired as a father of a young 20-year-old daughter who started her own cosmetic line online, Kayla B Beauty. You know, I certainly encourage her to look up to young women like you as aspiring billionaires on the rise. So again, just thank you so much for being a role model, especially for our young girls. Thank you so much.
Alderman from the 23rd, you were up first, but would you like to?
A couple quick things. First off, I made myself an honorary member, and we took a picture. So it's the 30,001 now. But I would also like to propose that we do this in bank. When you got a group, they're out there working to make things better as a group, whether it's black, white, purple, pink, whatever, I would have worn my pink shirt today. God bless you all for doing that work, and we should honor them as a group, not necessarily as a group of black women, but as a group, because I'm proud of you guys for doing that work.
All right, it's been moved by the Alderman from the 23rd, seconded by the Alderman from the 19th. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, please create another copy of the resolution in bank.
So
Alderman
noted.
from the 19th.
Thank you, Mr. President and members of the board. So congratulations to you, because this is the best time that you could be doing what you do and what you aspire to do. And so I really want to offer my mentorship to you. People call me the connector, and I would love to work with you at some point, most especially you having the understanding where finance is to assist you in your business, whether it's a long-term plan or a short-term emergency. There's difference in financing, and we really want to help you succeed. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Alderwoman from the 1st.
Mr. President, members of the board, I want to first acknowledge all the young black women up there. I am a force for women in general, black women in particular. I want to beg the pardon of the Alderman from the 23rd. When black people recognize black people for doing things, we're not trying to leave out white people. It is just for so many years we have been discriminated against. So when people bring this forth, it's to say, you may be the first, but you are not the last. We are leading to show you that the mistakes that our country made in discriminating against us both in color and sex was a mistake. That not only do we have power and we have knowledge and we have the ability to do it, but there was many before us who had all of that power and knowledge that were not permitted to do it. I want to also say to the two other black women that are up on the stage, and especially to Tamika, I see you blossoming. I am so proud. I encourage you. You know, I sit back there and I tell you, you are so smart. You are with two smart black women up there, and particularly Tamika, I am so proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing. You're going to be a leader in this city. I appreciate you.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Also, just want to thank you all for all of the work that you've done to date. Now, just to give you an idea of what this resolution is, this resolution is the highest honor this board has to give any organization or individual. Right? And what it does, it cements in time some of your many contributions up until this point into the permanent records of the city of St. Louis. So that your history is properly documented. No newspaper article, Wikipedia, anything else like that across these next 100, 200 years will be able to change that. It can only be changed by an official act on the floor of the Board of Aldermen. So 100, 200 years from now, when they read about this time, and they read about African-American women being taken and being grown into billionaires, they will read about the role that you played in starting this organization. They will read about the role you played in turning things around. So congratulations.
Thank you again. I just reached back and told them that does not happen a lot. So that's blessings on top of blessings. So you all, thank you again for the work you all doing. Keep up the work. They have a ball tomorrow night to celebrate and commemorate this work that they're doing and kick off more work. So again, like Alderwoman Marlene Davis Queen said, she's a resource, and I know that we all want to be a resource to you all and assist you all. And please be encouraged by every little thing that y'all doing, everything I see come up on that feed. Anytime you might need to be lifted up, go on your feed and look up Billionaires Club. Thank you. And now we'll call up Dallas Holland.
I always speak, but I'm a little lost for words today, which is really different from me. First and foremost, I want to thank you so much, Shameen and being a part of all of us. We ran with you, and being a part of your ward and just a part of your process. We are so honored, and we appreciate you for recognizing us. We also appreciate all of you all for recognizing us as well. The works that we're doing is just our heart. You know, we didn't need recognition for it. We didn't need anybody to pat us on the back. We just wanted to get out in the city and county of St. Louis and make a difference. And from what we've seen, we've made a huge difference. And it's nothing but God. So again, we appreciate you guys. We are all entrepreneurs, and we are aspiring to pull other entrepreneurs up. And while doing so, we can't just all be entrepreneurs. We have to go out in the community and help and bless people that are in need, and that is exactly what we do. So if you are not following us, Billionaires Girls Club on Facebook, that is our group, very encouraging group, best practices, suggestions, any questions that people may have that are aspiring to be where we are and where we're going. That's what this group is made for. Again, we appreciate all of you aldermen, alderwomen, aldermen. We appreciate you, and we are honored to receive such a huge honor. Thank you.
Good morning. I really don't have much to say because my friend and partner in outreach has said everything. So if I could say anything, I would say on behalf of all of us, we want to thank you guys, everyone who's represented in a seat today, because we've been doing this a short time, but I think you guys have been out here doing just as much and more in the community, changing lives, and you guys have definitely paved the way for us to change the game as well. So we just want to thank you all for the opportunity, and we want to thank you for the work that you're doing and will continue to do in the community. The question was asked, how do you guys get involved and how do you donate? We do have a website. The website is www.billionaires with an H, billionairesgirlsclub.com. There are ways to give via Cash App. And we also have office 5225 Delmore. You can mail checks there as well. And we are tax exempt, so you'll be able to write it off if you choose to donate. And we do have an upcoming ball tomorrow that Shamina spoke on. That particular ball, a portion of the funds will be used to fund a business owner who will be teaching women construction. So we definitely appreciate your contributions. Thank you.
Let's give them one more big round of applause. They reminded me that I knew they were coming, and I had plenty of time to get my pink tie on. So next year I'll have my pink tie ready, and all of you all have your pink tie ready. Shane, have your pink bow tie ready next year also. Alderman Ryan, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Sometimes down here we're tasked with dealing with large issues that it's difficult to even imagine a single person facing them because they're so systemic and so large. So I think it's always useful to be able to put a human face to some of the problems that we face, particularly in the realm of dealing with environmental concerns. With that, I'm going to read this resolution, and then I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Teresa Page to speak for a minute and hopefully fill all of you in on the struggle that she faces based on things that are very much in our control. So to get with the resolution, whereas Ms. Teresa Page is 44 years old today, March 13th, 2020, and whereas Ms. Page worked for an asbestos abatement contractor in the city of St. Louis who provided her with only a paper painter's mask for protection from asbestos dust. And whereas Ms. Page has been through 4 major surgeries and multiple rounds of chemotherapy due to her exposure to asbestos dust. And whereas adequate training is essential to ensure workers are able to identify questionable situations and ask the right questions when dealing with unscrupulous contractors. And whereas Ms. Page has used her illness as motivation to advocate for and educate workers and to ensure that others don't find themselves in a similar situation, now therefore be it resolved by this Board of Aldermen of the City of St. Louis that we pause to mourn the loss of workers harmed by asbestos, but also to celebrate the work of Teresa Page in ensuring that other workers do not suffer damages from exposure to asbestos in the City of St. Louis and beyond. Ms. Page?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. My name is Teresa Page. The reason I'm here today is because I have terminal cancer. A cancer caused by asbestos called mesothelioma. Several years ago, I worked with a construction company as a laborer right here in St. Louis. My job was demolition. I was never given any proper training, no abatement suits. What I was given was a paint mask. I was told to break up VAT tile, but was not told what it stood for. VAT tile stands for vinyl asbestos tile. Fully unaware, I did my job and I worked hard. In hindsight, I should have asked more questions. Had I had any formal training, I would have been able to identify suspicious situations and shady practices by employers who wanted to cut corners. But I didn't. I put on my paint mask and I knocked down walls. I broke up floors with VAT tile and I ate lunch with my employers and my team. I trusted them and I was eager to see the outcome of the projects we worked on. No questions asked. Today we can ensure that no longer happens. Thanks to Alderman Ryan and Jim Fall, who put this legislation together. Alderwoman Kara Spencer, thank you. Janine Uri with the Health Department, we thank you. Brandon Flynn, the Building Trades Council, the Carpenters Union, the Laborers Union, who have been a great help to me during this process, I thank you. There's so many people to thank. It really does take a village sometimes, and there's many people in this village who came together to make this happen. I feel very honored to be a small part of this fight. I've gotten used to fighting. I wish I could say I was a stranger to it, but it's just not true. For 4 years, I've been fighting something I can't see. Cancer's invisible. It's invasive. It's merciless. And when you add asbestos, it's relentless. There's no beating it. There's no winning. The question is, how much can you take? When you're given 6 months to 2 years to live, how much can you take? It's a series of losses. First, I lost my future when I was told I was going to die. Next, I lost my uterus, my cervix, my fallopian tubes, both ovaries, and obviously my ability to have children. Then I lost my hair, and right after that, I lost my 10-year relationship. And following that, I lost my appendix during my 4th surgery and my 2nd round of aggressive chemo, which left me with an 8-inch scar. My last surgery was 9 weeks ago. I'm currently losing my job while restructuring my future. Someday my 2 children will lose their mom. And every day I lose time and more energy. It's a series of losses. I've lost a lot. But what I haven't lost is my heart. I still have that. And heart is what it takes to keep getting up. Heart is what it takes to stand up and fight for other people so that they don't have to go through this as well. My heart gives me the courage to find the words today to ask you to change the future for someone else. Not for me. It's a little late for that. But for someone else. Because no one should have to go through what I have just for working hard to provide for your family. Laborers deserve to be protected. And I hope that today we can ensure that they are by passing this law. I know that soon I'll just become a statistic. I won't be able to stand here in person and ask you, beg you, to protect the people who elected you and to act on their behalf, to keep them safe in the workplace, to keep them healthy and able to take care of their families. Today I see so many people here, right now, who have the power to impact hundreds of lives, if not thousands. You never know. This is why you signed up for the job. This is why you do it. I know that some of you out there decided that you wanted this job because you just wanted to save some lives or do something really important. This is it. This could be the one thing. I recently found my bucket list, and on it, and I wrote it 4 years ago, but on it was save a life. If you guys could just help me do that today, I'd just be forever in your debt. There just wouldn't be enough thank yous for that. Numbers can be powerful. Today we can change the numbers. Tomorrow's not promised for all of us. So if time is of the essence, then I'm just asking you to please do this today. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Wow. Ms. Page, I am just so totally speechless after hearing the speech you just gave and the plea you just gave for us to do better and protect the workers and people throughout this city. Before we continue, I'll ask everybody, could you please join me in the moment of silent prayer for other people who right now are out in our city, out across this region, that have been affected or may become affected because of not having the safety measures in place on the jobs, and for you and for your kids and your family also. Thank you. Alderwoman from the 26th. Been moved by the Alderman from the 26th, seconded by the Alderman from the 9th, that we make this resolution in bank. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, please make note of that. Prepare another copy of this resolution in bank. What that means, Ms. Page, is that all of the aldermen asked that their names be added to this piece in recognition of everything and to show support for this effort. Alderman, could you move to this mic, one mic over?
I was going to start yelling, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I remember your spirit and your energy, and I remember you being a little nervous to get up there. And I remember telling you, you got this. And I'm still telling you got this. I've been telling you since I met you through Facebook, through Instagram, through messages to you. I followed you. I know, sis, nobody can tell you how to feel. And I know you recognize losses, and you feel your losses. But I want you to count me as a win. As a win for you, as a fighter for you, as a friend, as a sister to you. And think about all the wins also that will come once we pass this legislation, once we continue to get this message out for you. So sis, you are definitely an amazing winner. And keep that in your heart. Keep your heart, like you said. Nobody can take that from you. Nothing can take that from you. And I will continue to watch you and follow you. Please tell me if there's anything I can do for you. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Alderman from 13th.
Yeah, President, members of the board, my heart goes out also, and I'm a proud sponsor of this legislation, co-sponsor of this legislation. I just would like to remind everybody, this is why I am a strong union supporter. They help keep workers safe all the time. I am proud to have the union support, but more important than that, I am so proud to I've always been a member of a union, and this is why we all need to keep unions strong. Thank you.
Alderman from the 20th.
Thank you, Mr. President. We're having some technical difficulties here today.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Teresa Page, we will never forget your name. Your advocacy is so inspiring, standing before us and sharing with us that your cancer is terminal. Sharing your losses with us has made an enormous impact in the work that we're doing and we will continue to do. It's not your job as a worker to ask questions. It's our job to protect you. It's a great honor to be able to take a step in that direction today. We thank you for spending time with us and continuing to push for protections for yourself and for people who work in the same industry as you and for others. Thank you for being here. It's a great honor to be a part of this small step in the right direction towards a solution to protect our workers.
Alderman from the 23rd.
I think it's working. Yeah, it works. First off, I just want to say you'll be in my prayers. I'm glad that I'm also one of the co-sponsors, but what I do appreciate is your courage for coming out. I'm diabetic, and I'm scared to come out in a crowd right now because of that virus stuff, and I just admire your courage for even coming out to speak, because I know you know how important it is.
I wouldn't have missed it.
Okay, well, you're in my prayers, and God bless you for coming out.
Alderman from the 19th.
Teresa, may God's grace be with you and your family. But what I want to say to you, you are an eloquent speaker. You speak from your heart. I encourage you to use as much time as you can to embarrass the leadership of this country, who has removed EPA laws that have been protecting people, who refuses to listen to the things that we need in this country, who has belittled this crisis that we are going through now. Embarrass. Use your voice. Leave that legacy to your children because you can make a difference. And again, God be with you.
Alderwoman from the 1st.
Mr. President, members of the board, when I look at this beautiful soul, both inside and out, you are my white sister. So I don't think color is a bad thing. You are my white sister. You have already made a difference because you got some members of this board to stop what they were doing and to address your issue. You can do that on the state level, on the national level. You can do whatever you want to do. I particularly feel the pain. My mother has 6 brothers. One of them died. He was a UAW worker up in Detroit. You don't know what you don't know. And so he got exposed to asbestos, and he died from that 3 years ago. I saw him right before he died. It is a long, arduous task, but that does, everybody has a different path. I remember being a public defender right across the parking lot, and us picking at this stuff in that building, that was asbestos. We did not know that, okay? So you don't know what you don't know to ask questions, but once you know better, you do better. You have done such a great job. May God be with you and your family, and use your voice as long as you can, because you have already made a difference, and you can make a much bigger difference. And whatever I can do for you, or whatever more that we can do at this Board of Aldermen, since you already got somebody who you are in good contact with, just let him know. But if he doesn't listen, all of us here will hear you, and we want to make sure that you are honored in the things that we can do to make life better, because you are correct. We are here to make life better for citizens, and I appreciate you taking the time to remind us of that. Thank you.
Alderwoman from the 8th.
Ms. Page, thank you again for coming before us, for coming out on the steps of City Hall, for coming to us in committee and coming to us here. You shouldn't have had to do this, right? You didn't have to. Even when you got sick, you didn't have to advocate for others. You didn't have to use your time, your precious time, to put this much effort into this. But I'm so thankful that you did. You are leaving behind a bright path forward that people will be able to see that you did save lives, that we are going to save lives through this legislation. And I thank you for your courage. Thank you for just giving yourself to this and being that bright, shining light. And we all will be holding you in our hearts from here and going forward. Thank you so much.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Ms. Page, sitting here searching my heart for what to say to you. As a father of 4 and as a person who has dedicated much of his professional life to trying to help others, we have given these resolutions to heads of state, prime ministers. We've given them to Congress people and community leaders and business leaders from all over the country and internationally. But I cannot think of one resolution that has been more deserving than this one. So I want to thank you for the work that you continue to do. Words are powerful, and people oftentimes overlook the power of words, but indeed words have caused nations to rise and nations to fall. Your words today will cause a movement that will change working situations and working standards for people for years to come. And I want to tell you this, that when they read about this time in history and they read about the changes that took place in the workplace, when they read about how we finally have standards in place, not just in St. Louis, but across this nation, they will read your name amongst those records and know that you passed this way, and this day happened, that we paused in our deliberations to recognize you for the works that you've done. There's little we can say here today to bring you comfort, but please understand that we're all more committed than ever before to bring about the change that you're requesting. Let's give Ms. Page a big round of applause and thank you. Any final words, anything else you want to say?
I just want to say thank you all so very much. I don't really have much to say, but I just thank you all. Kara and Shamim, just all of you guys. You really do rise up and just surprise people sometimes. You know, thank you. I appreciate it.
Can I ask members of the board to please join us here at the dais for a picture with Ms. Page before she leaves?
Hard to do this with social distance.
It's not 1,000 of us.
One more big round of applause as Ms. Page and her parents leave. Thank you. May I have the Vice President of the Board, Alderman from the 17th, Alderman, join me at the dais. And the clerk of the board, join me at the dais.
We'd like to take a moment, invite someone who's been in the city for quite a few years. Sherry Bill, they've asked that you come up and join us here. I guess some of, when something's new, they say that the novelty of it creates memories, and some of my greatest memories down here was when I was new. And not that they're not fond memories today still, but back in those days when I first joined, I would go back and things were much different. We didn't have, if they're cramped now, you would not believe what, we used to not share offices, we shared desk. So we would have 2 aldermen at one desk back in the back. And if you happened to come in and the person you were sharing the desk with was more senior than you would, you couldn't get access to your stuff. And it was a much different environment. But the president, of course, always was well taken care of. And out in front of the president's office was Sherry. And Sherry and Tom Villa had a long relationship. And I have some of my fondest memories from back then. And then, you know, with changes of administrations and things, people move and move on. And so Sherry moved on for a long time. And then a few years ago, she came back, and it was fond memories. And I guess I feel a little bit like, you know, a page of history is being ripped out because she's leaving and I'm still here. So in any event, Sherry, it's been great working with you all these years. And I so fondly remember your smiling face, and it hasn't changed at all in all those times. You still are very pleasant and welcoming, and always makes everybody feel good around you. So thank you for all your years of service to the city.
When I first got to the board, Sherry Bill was one of the individuals that greeted me warmly. She was here before I got here. I got here in 1989 when I first got here. And her face was one of those that welcomed me warmly here to the Board of Aldermen. We've all been trying to figure out how long she has worked for the city. We haven't figured it out yet. We just know that she was here before we were. And what you have up here are the 2 oldest individuals that have been here so far, the longest running. And we know she was here before we got here. So it takes a certain kind of demeanor to be able to handle, and she hasn't aged a bit. What talent. But it takes a certain kind of individual to be able to handle these jobs, to interface with the public, to take the crazy calls, to hear and deal with all of the innuendos and the rumors and the political shenanigans that takes place, as some people call it. And she has withstood the time. And she has done it with both poise and sophistication. And she's managed not to show it up on her face or carry it in her spirit. And that speaks to her character. It is not often that you see individuals that way. She today was not really all, from my understanding, wasn't in all that interested in all the things I wanted to do. I wanted to have a big resolution and all kind of plaques and that kind of business. And people told me no. She said no. And you know, that doesn't really stop me most of the time. But seeing that she had been here before me and to give her that respect, I simply said, we're going to do this thing. We have to put some words on air in your honor so the rest of the world know you came by this way and what your work was. I was an alderman for a while, for 30 years, and now as the clerk, it has even been an even more pleasure to work with you. I got to learn to know you in a different capacity, in a different way, and to see the richness of your character. That was a pleasure for me. Thank you for your years of service here, not only with the Board of Aldermen, but the city of St. Louis and the citizens thereof. Your leaving is our loss. Thank you very much.
Alderman from the 23rd.
Well, I actually think she, okay, well then I'll go ahead and go on. It's fine.
You can wait, I'll forget you later.
Oh, no, it's rare that he knows I'm over. No, Sherry, it's been just a pleasure. I actually worked with you out at the airport when I was on the commission and you were out there. And then when I heard you left and came here, I had to come over because I enjoyed working with you that much. We used to have the best times, and I really liked that you listened to all my stupid jokes, which we used to all go to out to eat in the airport commission once a month, and I would tell the dumbest jokes, and Sherry would at least pretend to laugh. But anyway, God bless and enjoy your retirement.
Alderwoman from the 8th.
Thank you, Mr. President. So Sherry, these are for you. A small token of just the beauty that you've brought to this body as well. So I'm very happy for you that you are retiring. I don't want to compare my age to your years of service at this point, but I am so grateful that I was able to work with you as my secretary, coming in for a new person to work with someone who has so much knowledge and was so helpful. Thank you for helping me get started and helping my constituents. And please take care of those poodles, and please enjoy your retirement. Go to all of the Cardinals games you can go to once they get the season started, and please take with you our immense gratitude for all of your years of service. Thank you.
Alderman from the 13th.
Yes, President, members of the board, I also would like to wish Sherry the very best in her retirement. Go Cards. And I said she was not my secretary, so I didn't have that pleasure, but I've known her forever. I've known Redville and Townville in my entire life, so therefore I knew Sherry. And I will miss her down here. She was very helpful to me when I first came, along with all the other secretaries. But it was so nice to see when I first came down a familiar face when you come down and are brand new, and she was very comforting, and I wish her the very best, and I owe you a beverage at the Haven.
Alderman from the 5th.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. I would just like to stand and congratulate Sherry on your retirement. It's kind of unfortunate because as soon as I got a little seniority to go up on the other side where the big dogs are, you're leaving me. But I wish you all the best. I hope you enjoy it. And I just need to swear you to secrecy to some of the stuff that happens on the other side over there. So thank you for your service, and I wish you well.
Alderman from 26. While you find a new mic.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Sherry, I can really ditto the sentiments of Honorable Terry Kennedy. When I first came down here, not even a year ago, your warm smile and your eagerness to help it really calmed me down because I was nervous, of course. And every time I called you, every time I asked you for something, you did it with no question. You explained it to me. You educated me on it. You never made me feel like I was getting on your nerves. And that does absolutely speak to the spirit that Terry said you have after all these years, that you would still help, and still be eager to help. So thank you so much. I wish you all the best in your retirement. I hope you enjoy it. You definitely deserve it. And hopefully we'll get to see you maybe every once in a while.
Alderman from the 14th.
Sherry, I don't think you're really retiring. I think you're going to stay home for a little bit and spend some time down in Florida, and you're going to get bored, and you're going to come in here and volunteer or something. Yeah. You're going to be seen around. You've got too much life in you to just sit around and watch the soaps. But the soaps aren't on anymore, are they? So you will have to get out and do something, and maybe we can get together for a cocktail hour. I know how hard that is for you to do, but please, maybe we can have a cocktail together, okay? All right, take care.
Alderman from the 7th.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Sherry, congratulations on your retirement and your many years of service. I didn't have the pleasure of working with you as my secretary, but I know my predecessor Phyllis did for many, many years, and I know you're very important to the neighborhoods of the 7th Ward. I often see you in Soulard outside of the halls of this building, and I'm sure we'll continue to see you at concerts and various parties down in the neighborhood. Thank you so much for all the work you've done to help the neighborhoods of the 7th Ward and the whole city. And please do keep quiet all those conversations you've heard in Alderman Vollmer's office over the years. Enjoy retirement. We'll miss you.
Alderman from the 21st.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm a little sad. I'm losing my secretary. I know you're going to miss all of my emails. I know you're really going to miss doing my ward mailers. My constituents will miss those too. Thank you so much, Sherry. You have helped me out tremendously from coming down here. When I am ready to curse out city department, you automatically intervene and get the problem solved. Thank you. I'm sad to see you go, but it's okay. You can always come to my ward office and I can still use your help between the hours of 9 and 5. Okay, so come on over, and congratulations again, and thank you for your service.
Alderman from the 22nd.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Sherry, I would also like to echo thank you for your many years of service. Congratulations. I'm going to truly miss all the spirited, screaming, howling, shouting matches we had in that secret office in the back. No, I'm just kidding. Everybody that knows Sherry knows she is just as calm and quiet and often smiling, just have that real warm feeling about herself to make everybody feel special. So again, thank you for your many, many years of service, and I hope you truly enjoy your retirement.
Alderman from the 10th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the board, Sherry was not my secretary, but her desk was right outside my door. I thank you for being the most professional, most discreet, the best person I've ever met in my life. Even though she's not my secretary, she replenished my pretzel supply without even asking. And I hope you took advantage of the other accoutrements back in my office. Thank you very much.
Alderman from the 25th.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is really hard for me. Having been down here for 11 years now, Sherry has been my secretary for the last few years, and I don't just consider her a secretary, but a friend as well. You have just been a wonderful resource and a wonderful person to work with down here at the board over my tenure. You know this is very bittersweet for me. I hate to see you go. I am so excited for your next chapter in life. I can't believe all of the wonderful things that you already have planned. I'm starting to tear up. So Roxy's going to miss visiting you. Hopefully we can get together for some puppy play dates. But I wish you all of the best in your new chapter in life. And we'll certainly miss you down here, but hopefully when you get together with the other alder people for a cocktail, you guys remember to invite me. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Sherry, I just want to thank you for the years of friendship. And then once I got to take a look at the number, because you had gone out to the airport for a while, I had no idea that you with President Villa, and you just have such a rich history here at the Board of Aldermen. There's little I can say to encompass the totality of your impact on all the legislation and the things that we've done here over the years. You've done just a phenomenal job, and I hope you will remember some of the words that some of the aldermen said here today. They use words like, confidant, discreet, team player, right? You have done it all, right? And you deserve your retirement. And I wish we can give you your retirement, but we're going to have to ask you to stay a little bit longer. But thank you for a job well done. I see former Alderman Beckerly back there at the door. He had an opportunity to serve here when you were here, Alderman Beckerly. Thank you for coming to assure her that you are supportive of her and that you think a lot of the work that she's done here. Let's give Sherry a big round of applause and thank you for a job well done. Well, one more time today. Can we have the alderman come over so we do a photo with Sherry? Paul?
But he's not gonna do his force.
perfect.
We took that out so that it could just be done on her birthday. Then he's gonna come back and change it.
Oh, perfect,
You
perfect.
know I'm not gonna break it.
Yeah. No, perfect. Return. It's been moved and seconded that we adopt our courtesy resolutions calendar. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. With that, we'll return to our regular order of business. Introduction of honored guests. Any introduction of honored guests? Any introduction of honored guests? Going once, going twice. Alderman from the 10th, you're recognized to wrap us up.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Today is Friday the 13th, and it's also, gosh, in 1868, the Senate was impeaching the president back then. So as much as things change, things stay the same. But more importantly, this is called Blame Someone Else Day, otherwise known as Donald Trump Day. Thank you.
Alderman from the 23rd.
Did want to at least recognize Gwen Evans, as my special guest, and I think hopefully going to be one of our future aldermen sitting out here with us. So I did want to introduce her.
Any further introductions? Any further introductions? Approval of the minutes.
Approval of the minutes, March 6, 2020.
Alderman from the 22nd, you recognize on approval of the minutes.
Mr. President, members of the board, I move to approve the amendments of March 6, 2020.
Moved by the Alderman from the 22nd, seconded by the Alderman from the 10th. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Report of city officials.
Report of city officials can be found in A, B, and C of the agenda and has been placed in the alderman's mailboxes. Dear members of the board, I have the pleasure to submit the following individuals for appointment to the Cousin Martin Luther King Grand Community Improvement District. The appointment of Mr. Zachary Wilson, whose term will expire March 27, 2022. The appointment of Mr. Dale Rusath, whose term will expire March 27, 2024. The appointment of Ms. Amina Wright, whose term will expire March 27, 2022. I respectfully request your approval of the appointments. Sincerely, Lyda Cruz, and Mayor.
Alderwoman from the 19th, you recognize on the mayor's appointment to the Cozen MLK Grand Community Improvement District.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. I move to adopt the appointments of the mayor for the Community Improvement District.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 19th, seconded by the Alderman from the 20, and the 13th. All right. I missed you all. I didn't want to give it to you if it wasn't yours from the 27th and the 13th. Any further discussion? All in favor signify. Alderman from the 25th.
Does this microphone work? No. Thank you, Mr. President. Will the Alderwoman from the 19th yield for questioning?
Alderman from the 19th will yield for questions to the Alderman from the 25th. Alderman from the 25th, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Alderwoman. I'm just curious. The names are very familiar. They're all SLDC employees, which typically with the community improvement districts, the board have to be either representatives of property owners themselves, et cetera. So I'm like, I've just never seen this before down here. I'm curious how.
I'll be happy to explain.
Yeah, thank you.
Because if it wasn't right, I wouldn't be standing here. Okay, so we have, this is basically covering the Martin Luther King Plaza territory there. And this was one entity, a small entity that was incorporated with a SID back in 2004. The ownership changed twice, and they allowed their actual state adoption and all the other paperwork to go awry, and we're putting it back together. And so we're going to use these staff people to put all the documentation back together. We've talked to the new owners, we've talked to some of the business people, but this is the best way for us to do this now, and then come back and have some community meetings and appoint new members to the city board.
Is this, so is this community improvement district an area community improvement district, or is it a single site community improvement district?
It's a single site.
It is, okay.
The MLK, you know the MLK Plaza right there, Grand and Page?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. So this is basically, the streets, it's like a square
Just
there.
the square around the.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then, so the property owner is then aware of the appointments to the board
Right,
and is supportive of.
right. That was my first question when it came to me.
Okay.
Yes.
So, so this is something that was already established, but it sounds as though they probably weren't filing their annual reports and things of that
Yeah, we'll
nature.
get all that cleaned up. And,
Okay.
because basically, we didn't have the proper oversight. And we should have made sure those things were submitted timely, and we didn't do that.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the
All right.
clarification. I appreciate it.
Alderman from the 23rd.
No, I'm sorry, not on this. I'm already anxious about the next one.
Okay, all right. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? It's been moved by the Alderman from the 19th, second by the Alderwoman from the 27th and 13th, that we accept the mayor's appointments to the Grand Community Improvement District. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Dear members of the board, I have the pleasure to submit the following individuals for the appointment to the Civilian Oversight Board. The appointment of Mr. Frank Kapanis, whose term will expire on December 31st, 2021. I respectfully request your approval of the appointment.
Alderwoman from the 14th. Alderwoman from the 14th, you recognize on the mayor's appointment to the Civilian Oversight Board.
Yes, I would like to present Frank Kopanis, recommend him for the Civilian Oversight Board.
Would you like to make a motion to send this to
I would
Public
like to make a
Safety?
motion to send this to the committee.
Yeah, Public Safety. It's been moved.
Public Safety,
Been
yeah.
moved by the Alderman from the 14th, seconded by the Alderman from the 6th. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, please make note of that.
So noted. Dear members of the board, I have the pleasure to submit the following individual for the appointment to the Tower Grove South Concerned Citizens Special Business District. The appointment of Ms. Lauren Pite, whose term will expire on December 31st, 2022. I respectfully request your approval of these appointments.
Alderman from the 15th, we recognize on the mayor's appointments to the Tower Grove South Concerned Citizens Special Business District.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the board, I move to approve the mayor's appointment to the Tower Grove South Concerned Citizens Special District Board.
Been moved by the Alderman from the 15th, second by the Alderman from the 25th. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Dear members of the board, I have the pleasure to submit the following individuals for appointment and reappointment to the Grove Community Improvement District. The appointment of Joel Oliver, the appointment of Mr. Milton Rothschild, the appointment of Mr. Tom Bolt, the appointment of Mr. Don Bellin, the appointment of Mr. Tatiana Telenova, the appointment of Mr. Guy Slay, the appointment of Ms. Fahim Mohammed, the appointment of Ms. Cheryl Myers, the reappointment of Mr. Keely Kenter, the reappointment of Mr. Jock Bronstark, the reappointment of Mr. Chip Schloss. I respectfully request your appointment of these. I respectfully request your approval of these appointments. Sincerely, Lyda Cruz, Mayor.
Alderman from the 17th, you recognize on the mayor's appointment to the Grove Community Improvement District.
Yes, Mr. President, member of the board, I request approval for this appointment, these appointments.
Moved by Alderman from the 17th, second by Alderman from the 25th. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
That is the extent of report of city officials.
We dispense with line item 7. Would anyone like to take any bills off of any of our informal calendars? Would anyone like to take any bills or resolutions off of any of our informal calendars? Alderman from the 24th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to move Board Bill 208 committee sub from the informal calendar to the perfection calendar, please.
Madam Clerk, please make note of that. Place Board Bill 208 committee substitute at the tail end of the regular perfection calendar.
So noted.
Would anyone like to take any further bills or resolutions off of any of our informal calendars? We'll dispense with line items. Eight through 14, perfection consent.
Board Bill 118, sponsored by Alderman Rhodey, an ordinance approving a redevelopment plan for 3974 Sarpy Avenue area. Board Bill 123, sponsored by Alderman Vollmer, an ordinance approving a redevelopment plan for 5476 Dempsey Avenue and 5027 Daggett Avenue area. Board Bill 144, committee sub, sponsored by Alderman Todd, an ordinance approving a redevelopment plan for the 3765 Lindell Boulevard area. Board Bill 162, sponsored by Alderman Rhodey, an ordinance approving a redevelopment plan dated November 6, 2019 for the 4565 through 4591 McCree Avenue area. Board Bill 197, sponsored by Alderwoman Murphy, an ordinance approving a blighting study and a redevelopment plan for 3808 Wilmington Avenue redevelopment area. Board Bill 201, sponsored by Alderwoman Howard, an ordinance approving a blighting study and a redevelopment plan for 3933 Dolores Street redevelopment area. Board Bill 204, sponsored by Alderwoman Martin, an ordinance approving a blighting study and a redevelopment plan for 6924 Idaho Avenue redevelopment area. Board Bill 209, sponsored by Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, an ordinance approving a blighting study and a redevelopment plan for the 5258 and 5268 Maple Avenue redevelopment area. Board Bill 210, committee sub, sponsored by Alderman Bosley, an ordinance approving a redevelopment plan dated January the 21st, 2020 for the Jefferson, Gamble, Elliott, Mills area in the city of St. Louis. Board Bill 135, sponsored by Alderwoman Ingracia, Alderman Muhammad, Alderwoman Spencer, and Alderman Todd, an ordinance allowing persons, business, enterprise, and other entities, organizations, and groups who reserve any of the City of St. Louis parks amenities by permit issued by the city's Department of Parks, Recreation, and Forestry to exclude from the permitted area persons carrying firearms in accordance with 571107 of the revised statutes of the state of Missouri, regardless of whether carried, concealed on or about their person, and whether they hold a concealed carry permit or endorsement, and containing an emergency clause. Board Bill 219 as amended, sponsored by Alderwoman Navarro, Alderman Kotar, Alderman Gunther, Alderwoman Ingracia, Alderwoman Rice, Alderwoman Green, and Alderman Narayan, an ordinance entitled Building Energy Performance Standards. The purpose of this ordinance is to establish energy performance standards for certain buildings in the city of St. Louis. Board Bill 203, sponsored by Alderman Kotar, an ordinance approving a redevelopment plan dated January the 21st, 2020 for the 300 North Taylor Boulevard area. Board Bill 205, sponsored by Alderman Kotar, an ordinance approving a redevelopment plan dated January the 21st, 2020 for the 1501 South 7th Street. Board Bill 212, sponsored by Alderwoman Martin, an ordinance recommended by the Planning Commission on February the 3rd, 2020 to change the zoning of property as indicated on district map and city block 3209 from B, two-family dwelling district, to the E, multiple family dwelling district at 8201 and 8221 Minnesota Avenue so as to include the described parcels of land in city block 3209 and containing an emergency clause. Board Bill 213, sponsored by Alderman Bosley, an ordinance approving a redevelopment plan dated January the 21st, 2020 for the 4101 North Grand Boulevard area. Board Bill 214, sponsored by Alderman Rhodey, an ordinance recommended by the Planning Commission on February the 3rd, 2020 to change the zoning of property as indicated on the Forest Park Southeast Farm-Based District map from NG2 Neighborhood General Type 2 zone to the NC2 Neighborhood Center Type 2 zone in the city block 3981 so as to include the described parcels of land in section 1 below in the city block 3981 and to further change the overall boundaries of NG2 Neighborhood General Type 2 zone and the NC2 Neighborhood Center Type 2 zone in the attached amended Exhibit B and amended Exhibit C and established under Ordinance 70732 and containing an emergency clause. Board Bill 225, sponsored by Alderwoman Hubbard, an ordinance authorizing the execution of a maintenance agreement for Interco Plaza and containing a severability clause. Board Bill 226, sponsored by Alderwoman Hubbard, an ordinance authorizing the execution of a cooperation agreement for portions of Hadley Street and Dr. Martin Luther King Drive and containing a severability clause. Board Bill 115, sponsored by Alderman Moore, an ordinance recommended by the Board of Public Service to conditionally vacate above surface and subsurface rights for vehicle, equestrian, and pedestrian travel in the northern 120 feet of the 15-foot wide north-south alley in City Block 1880 as bounded by Cope Brilliant, Grand, Aldine, and Spring in the City of St. Louis, Missouri, as hereinafter described in accordance with Charter authority and in conformity with Section 1.4 of Article 21 of the Charter and imposing certain conditions on such vacation. Board Bill 179, sponsored by Alderwoman Davis, an ordinance establishing a four-way stop site at the intersection of North Garrison Avenue and Locust Street, regulating all traffic traveling northbound and southbound on North Garrison Avenue and Locust Street, and regulating all traffic traveling eastbound and westbound on Locust Street at North Garrison Avenue, and containing an emergency clause. Board Bill 198, sponsored by Alderwoman Tyus, an ordinance pertaining to vendors, establishing a comprehensive rules and regulations for vendors within the Kingsway East, Kingsway West, Penrose, Mark Twain neighborhoods, containing definitions, a penalty clause, a severability clause, and an emergency clause. Board Bill 206, sponsored by Alderman Todd, an ordinance authorizing and directing the Director of Streets to permanently close, barricade, or otherwise impede the flow of traffic on the 4300 block of Finney Avenue by blocking said traffic flow at the west curb line of Pendleton Avenue at the intersection of the 4300 block of Finney Avenue and Pendleton Avenue. Board Bill 211, sponsored by Alderman Todd, an ordinance authorizing and directing the Director of Streets to permanently close, barricade, or otherwise impede the flow of traffic on the 4400 block of West Bell Place by blocking said traffic flow at the east curb line of North Taylor Avenue at the intersection of 400 block of West Bell Place and North Taylor. Board Bill 220, sponsored by Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, an ordinance recommended by the Board of Public Service to conditionally vacate above surface and subsurface rights for vehicle, equestrian, and pedestrian travel in the 15-foot wide north-south alley in the City Block 3874 West in the City of St. Louis, Missouri, as hereinafter described in accordance with Charter authority and in conformity with Section 1.4 of Article 21 of the Charter, and imposing certain conditions on such vacation. Board Bill 241, sponsored by Alderwoman Davis, pursuant to Ordinance 68937, an ordinance authorizing the honorary street name William A. Person Street, which shall begin at the intersection of North Cardinal Avenue and Franklin Avenue and run south on North Cardinal Avenue to the intersection of North Cardinal Avenue and Samuel Shepherd Drive. Board Bill 231, as amended, sponsored by Alderwoman Spencer, Alderwoman Ingracia, Alderman Kotar, Alderman Gunther, Alderwoman Martin, Alderwoman Howard, Alderman Todd, Alderman Boyd, Alderman Vaccaro, and Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. An ordinance amending Section 1 of Ordinance 63800, codified in Chapter 2564010 of the City of St. Louis Revised Code of Ordinances to include a charge of $150 to cover the cost of the city for providing police security escort services during the building division's demolitions, repairs, board-ups, and cleanups of buildings or structures that have been declared public nuisance. That is the extent of perfection consent calendar.
Alderman from the 22nd, you recognize on the motion for the perfection consent calendar.
Mr. President, members of the board, I move for adoption of the perfection consent calendar.
Moved by Alderman from the 22nd, seconded by Alderman from the 10th. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Board bills for perfection.
Board Bill 228, Committee Sub, sponsored by Alderman Muhammad and Alderwoman Howard. An ordinance amending Ordinance 70714 by repealing Section 2 of that ordinance and enacting in lieu thereof a new Section 2 pertaining to the same subject matters and adding Section 3 containing an emergency clause.
Alderman from the 21st, you recognize on the perfection of Board Bill 228, Committee Substitute.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the perfection of Board Bill 228, committee sub.
It's been moved by Alderman from the 21st and seconded by the Alderman from the 14th. Please proceed, Alderman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Board Bill 228, committee sub, is a simple board bill. It actually follows in suit of what the mayor did with the one-time increase of $1,000 for all city workers. This will be given to the Sheriff's Department. We work diligently with the Sheriff's Department to get this done, and the sheriff deputies are excited about this increase, and it just follows directly in suit of it. With that, Mr. President, I renew my motion.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Alderman from the 22nd.
Mr. President, I'd just like to add my name as a co-sponsor.
Madam Clerk, please make note of that. Any further discussion? Alderman from the 13th.
It as a co-sponsor also, thank you.
Madam Clerk, please make note of that. Alderman from the 21st, you recognize to close.
Thank you, Mr. President. I renew my motion.
Please stay.
Sorry, I know you already said close, but I don't have it in my book, and several other people don't have the board bill in their book. It's what?
Yes, it's in this stack. It's been moved by the Alderman from 21st, seconded by the Alderman from the 14th, that we perfect Board Bill 228, committee substitute. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Board Bill 243, sponsored by Alderman Boyd, President Reed, Alderwoman Murphy, Alderwoman Boyd, Alderman Bosley, Alderwoman Martin, and Alderman Kotar. An ordinance authorizing the installation of an honorary street name, Alderman Samuel Moore Way, at the intersection of Garfield Avenue and Newstead Avenue.
Alderman from the 22nd, you recognize on the perfection of Board Bill 243.
Mr. President, members of the board, I move for perfection of Board Bill 243.
Moved by the Alderman from the 22nd, seconded by the Alderman from the 10th. Please proceed, Alderman.
Yes, Mr. President, members of the board, this is a very simple bill. It's an honorary street naming in honor of Alderman Samuel Moore. It should be erected at the corner of Garfield and Newstead. Most people that know me, I'm pretty hard on honorary street naming. Actually, Alderman Moore and I kind of had some disagreements years ago about honorary street naming. I just come from a mindset that when the city of St. Louis honors somebody with a street, they need to have done something extremely meritorious for the city of St. Louis. Just because you served in a capacity for 5 or 10 years or 15 years in whatever organization you represent doesn't necessarily mean that you deserve an honorary street sign. Just because you've hit 1,000 home runs doesn't necessarily mean you deserve an honorary street sign. Honorary street signs, in my mind, are reserved for people who have really made significant impact in people's quality of life. And certainly, Alderman Sam Moore has done that. And it is indeed an honor and a privilege that I sponsor this bill along with the co-sponsor that we currently have. And it's a good day for the city of St. Louis to do this. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Alderman from the 13th.
Yeah, President, members of the board, I'm a proud co-sponsor, but I would like to move that we put this bill in bank.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 13th, seconded by the Alderman from the 19th and 26th, that we make this bill in bank. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, please make note of that. Add each and every alderman's name to Board Bill 243.
So noted.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Alderman from the 22nd, you recognize to close.
Mr. President, members of the board, I renew my motion.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 22nd, seconded by the Alderman from the 10th, that we perfect Board Bill 243. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Board Bill 208, committee sub, sponsored by Alderman Orion and the following alderpersons: Tyus, Middlebrook, Ingracia, Rice, Gunther, Morton, Arnowitz, Green, Spencer, Vaccaro, Clark, Hubbard, Pam Boyd, Navarro, and Coder. An ordinance amending sections 10, 12, 25, 20, and 27 of Ordinance 68657 and codified in in the City Code and Revised Codes as Title 11, Chapter 34, Section 090-110-240-250 concerning the Commission of Health's Authority asbestos performance-based fee schedules related to asbestos and demolition, air pollution, and penalties, and containing a severability and effective date clause.
Alderman from the 24th, you recognize on the perfection of Board Bill 208 committee substitute.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this point, I would move to perfect Board Bill 208 committee sub.
Been moved by the Alderman from the 24th and seconded by the Alderman from the 26th and the Alderman from the 25th. Please proceed.
For the reasons that you heard earlier today, I think we heard some pretty touching testimony from Ms. Teresa Page, who was a major motivating driver in my work on this particular piece of legislation. For all the reasons that you heard today, I would urge you all to help me perfect this and get this passed into law. So at this point, I would renew my motion.
All right, any further discussion? Alderman from the 13th.
Yes, I would like to move that Board Bill 208 committee substitute be placed in bank.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 13th, seconded by the Alderman from the 19th, that we make Board Bill 208 committee substitute in bank. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, please make note of that. Board Bill 208 committee substitute should be amended in bank.
So noted.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Alderman from the 24th, you recognize close.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this point, I would move to suspend the rules to place...
No.
Excuse me. Yes. I'll sit back down.
All right. It's been moved by the Alderman from the 24th, seconded by the Alderman from the 26th, that we perfect Board Bill 208 committee substitute. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. You can't do it when I'm in the. I know, but you can't do it once I put the, just so everybody knows, once I put the vote, that's the only thing we can do then, once we put the vote. But you'll have an opportunity because the Alderman from 24th isn't done yet. He has another step to take.
That is the extent of board bills for perfection.
Alderman from the 24th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Now, at this point, I would like to move to suspend the rules to place Board Bill 208 committee sub on the third read calendar.
All right. It's been moved by the Alderman from the 24th, seconded by the Alderman from the 9th, and Alderman from the 8th, and the Alderman from the 23rd. We suspend the rules for the purposes of moving Board Bill 208 committee substitute to the regular third reading calendar. Any discussion? Any discussion? Alderman from the 22nd?
Are we on third reading?
Yeah, we are. We're about to suspend the rules to put 208 committee substitute on third reading.
I move that we put Board Bill 208 on the third reading calendar.
All right.
Suspend the rules for the purpose of putting it on third reading calendar.
All right, so it's been moved and seconded. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Tyus. Alderwoman Middlebrook. Alderman Bosley. Alderwoman Hubbard. Alderwoman Negracia. Alderman Kotar. Alderwoman Rice. Alderman Gunther. Alderman Vollmer. Alderwoman Martin. Alderwoman Murphy. Alderwoman Howard. Alderwoman Green. Alderman Oldenburg. Alderman Rhodey. Alderman Todd. Alderwoman Davis. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Muhammad. Alderman Boyd. Alderman Vaccaro. Alderman Narayan. Alderman Cone. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Alderwoman Boyd. Alderwoman Navarro. President Reed.
Aye.
Alderwoman Middlebrook. Alderwoman Martin. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Muhammad. 26 aye votes.
By your vote, stay in the motion. Alderman from the 24th. Suspend the rules for placing Board Bill 208 committee substitute on the regular third reading calendar. Madam Clerk, please make note of that and place Board Bill 208 committee substitute at the tail end of the regular third reading calendar.
So noted.
Third reading consent.
Board Bill 190, 196, 232, 227, 191, Committee Sub, 233, 189, 217, 218, as amended.
Alderman from the 22nd, you recognize on the motion for the third reading consent calendar.
Mr. President, members of the board, I move for adoption of the third reading consent calendar.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 22nd, entertained seconded by the Alderman from 13th, that we third read and finally pass the aforementioned bills. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Tyus. Alderwoman Middlebrook. Alderman Bosley. Alderwoman Hubbard. Alderwoman Ingracia. Alderman Kotar. Alderwoman Rice. Alderman Gunther. Alderman Vollmer. Alderwoman Martin. Alderwoman Murphy. Alderwoman Howard. Alderwoman Green. Alderman Oldenburg. Alderman Rhodey. Alderman Todd. Alderwoman Davis. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Muhammad. Alderman Boyd. Alderman Vaccaro. Alderman Narayan. Alderman Cone. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Alderwoman Boyd. Alderwoman Navarro. President Reed.
Aye.
Alderman Muhammad. 26 aye votes.
By your vote, stay in the motion. The Alderman from the 22nd and third read and finally passed the aforementioned bills. Third reading report of engrossments.
Board Bill 237, sponsored by Alderwoman Howard, Alderman Bosley, Alderwoman Hubbard, Alderman Rhodey, and Alderwoman Murphy. An ordinance relating to the appointment of and salaries of certain employees in the Collector of Revenue's Office pursuant to Section 82.610 of Revised Statutes of Missouri by repealing ordinances 70020, allocating certain other employees to a grade with rate and including an emergency clause. The provisions of the sections contained in this ordinance shall be effective with the start of the first pay period following approval by mayor.
Alderwoman from the 14th, you recognize on third reading and final passage of Board Bill 237.
Mr. President, I would like to put before the Board Bill 237 for final passage.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 14th, seconded by the Alderman from the 22nd. Alderwoman, please proceed.
This bill allows the Collector of Revenue to provide a one-time pay to his employees of $1,000 and a 3% increase across the board to his employees, and for other considerations for employment.
All right. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Alderman from the 18th.
I don't have against this bill. First, let me make this very plain. I think workers should be paid fairly. I think city workers as a group, majority have done a great job, so I'm not against an increase. What I do want to go on record saying is that whenever city employees get a raise, I want to make sure that we include some money for services for the taxpayers. For example, in the 18th ward, we have streets and alleys that need paving. We have parks that need supervision and activities for people in the parks. Forestry, we need full-time employees that can make sure that we follow the city law, which says that grass doesn't supposed to grow but no more than 6 inches. And also, we need to clean up, we need workers to be able to clean up, cut trees and other things, just to name a few services that we do need. And also, we need to have extra money for the poorest of the poor. We need to have, for example, right now we had the coronavirus. We need to make sure that we have our homeless population. We have people so that they have the necessary hand wash and other things that we need to keep those people, keep the workers. Those were workers who were put out of work because, in many cases, through no fault of their own, through technology, through automation, through transferring jobs through different sources, as well as robots and other things. So we want to make sure that some of the money goes to the poorest of the poor people, as well as the working class that is no longer employed. So that's why I oppose it, is because we need to be able to share the tax dollars, be able to share the money, and all of it shouldn't go to one source, but it should be shared amongst all the working people, including the ones who are no longer working at this time, but they also pay taxes. So, and also the people who are paying taxes for services, and everyone in the city does pay taxes for services. So that's why I oppose any raise. I voted for any raise at this particular time for our city employees. Not that they don't need a raise, but I'm saying they need a raise, but some of the money need to be also shared with people who don't have any money at all, or any services, and they could benefit from the different services that we as a city have to offer.
Thank you all. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Alderman from the 14th, you recognize to close.
Mr. President, I would like to renew my motion.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 14th, seconded by the Alderman from the 22nd, that we third read and final pass Board Bill number 237. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Tyus. Alderwoman Middlebrook. Alderman Bosley. Alderwoman Hubbard. Alderwoman Ingracia. Alderman Kotar. Alderwoman Rice. Alderman Gunther. Alderman Vollmer. Alderwoman Martin. Alderwoman Murphy. Alderwoman Howard. Alderwoman Green. Alderman Oldenburg. Alderman Rhodey. Alderman Todd. Alderwoman Davis. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Muhammad. Alderman Boyd. Alderman Vaquero. Alderman Narayan. Alderman Cone. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Alderwoman Boyd. Alderwoman Navarro. President Reed.
Aye.
Alderman Cone. Alderman Cone. 25 aye votes, 1 no vote, and 1 present.
By vote, you sustain the motion of the Alderman from the 14th and third read and finally passed Board Bill 237.
Board Bill 240, sponsored by Alderwoman Howard and Alderwoman Murphy, an ordinance to regulate employer and employee working relationships between the City of St. Louis and all employees under the Medical Examiner's Office, including a compensation plan, terms and conditions of employment, benefits, leaves of absence, and an authorization for a deferred compensation plan, repealing Ordinance 70019, allocating certain other employees to a grade with rate, and including an emergency clause. The provisions of the sections contained in this ordinance shall be effective with the start of the first pay period following approval by the mayor.
Alderman from the 14th, you recognize on the third reading and final passage of Board Bill 240.
Mr. President, I would like to put Board Bill 240 before the board.
Third reading, final
Third reading, final passage.
Been moved by the Alderwoman from the 14th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 13th. Alderwoman from the 14th, please proceed.
This bill mirrors the previous bill. It provides a $1,000 pay increase and a 3% raise to those employees of the medical examiner's office that meet their satisfactory employment goals. This will provide them the same benefits that the civil service employees received with their pay raise recently.
All right. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Alderman from the 14th, you recognize to close.
I would like to renew my motion.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 14th, seconded by the Alderman from the 13th, that we third read and final pass Board Bill 240. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Tyus. Alderwoman Middlebrook. Alderman Bosley. Alderwoman Hubbard. Alderwoman Ingracia. Alderman Kotar. Alderwoman Rice. Alderman Gunther. Alderman Vollmer. Alderwoman Martin. Alderwoman Murphy. Alderwoman Howard. Alderwoman Green. Alderman Oldenburg. Alderman Rhodey. Alderman Todd. Alderwoman Davis. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Muhammad. Alderman Boyd. Alderman Vaccaro. Alderman Narayan. Alderman Cone. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Alderwoman Boyd. Alderwoman Navarro. President Reed.
Aye.
Alderwoman Hubbard. Alderman Muhammad. Alderman Cone. Present. 23 aye votes, 1 no vote, and 1 present.
By the vote, staying the motion on Alderman from the 14th and third read and finally passed Board Bill 240.
Board Bill 208, Committee Sub, sponsored by Alderman Narayan and the following alderpersons: Tyus, Middlebrook, Ingracia, Rice, Gunther, Martin, Ornowitz, Green, Spencer, Vaccaro, Clark Hubbard, Pam Boyd, Navarro, and Kotar. An ordinance amending sections 10, 12, 25, and 27 of ordinance number 68657 and codified in the City Code and Revised Codes as Title 11, Chapter 34, Sections 010, 110, 240, 250 concerning the Commissioner of Health's authority, asbestos, performance-based fee schedules related to asbestos and demolition, air pollution, penalties, and containing a severability clause. And I do want to correct myself, 208 was sponsored by Narayan and the whole Board of Aldermen. President Reed.
Okay. Can you read, Madam Clerk, can you read the names in the record of the sponsors?
208, sponsored by Alderman Narayan, President Reed, Alderwoman Tyus, Middlebrook, Bosley, Hubbard, Ingracia, Kotar, Rice, Gunther, Vollmer, Martin, Murphy, Howard, Green, Oldenburg, Rhodey, Todd, Davis, Spencer, Muhammad, Boyd, Vaccaro, Cone, Clark Hubbard, Pam Boyd, and Alderwoman Navarro.
Alderman from the 24th, you recognize on third reading and final passage of Board Bill 208, Committee Substitute.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you all. I move to third read and final pass Board Bill 208, Committee Substitute.
Moved by the Alderman from the 24th, seconded by the Alderman from the 8th. Please proceed, Alderman.
Again, I believe that we heard the reason that we must pass this legislation and legislation like this moving forward. I am incredibly honored that you all decided to make this en banc. I did not foresee that, and I think it's incredible. I think it's amazing that as a board we are taking a strong stance to protect workers in the city. And after we get this through, I hope to work with you all to create further legislation to continue to make St. Louis a better place to work. And with that, I renew my motion.
All right, thank you. I think is today Mrs. Page's birthday.
Yes, it is, Mr. President.
All right. Please tell her thank you from all of us also.
Absolutely.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 24th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 8th, that we third read and final pass Board Bill 208. Committee substitute. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Tyus. Alderwoman Middlebrook. Alderman Bosley. Alderwoman Hubbard. Alderwoman Negracia. Alderman Kotar. Alderwoman Rice. Alderman Gunther. Alderman Vollmer. Alderwoman Martin. Alderwoman Murphy. Alderwoman Howard. Alderwoman Green. Alderman Oldenburg. Alderman Rhodey. Alderman Todd. Alderwoman Davis. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Muhammad. Alderman Boyd. Alderman Vaccaro. Alderman Narayan. Alderman Cone. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Alderwoman Boyd. Alderwoman Navarro. President Reed.
Aye.
Alderwoman Hubbard. Alderman Mohammed. 25 aye votes and 1 present.
By vote, you stay in the motion. Alderman from the 24th and third read and finally passed Board Bill 208. Committee substitute. Tell Ms. Page happy birthday from all of us.
That is the extent of third reading report of engrossment.
Report of enrollment.
Board Bill 190, 196, 232, 227, 191 Committee Sub, 233, 189, 217, 218 as amended, 237, 240, and 208 Committee Sub.
All other business being suspended, the President shall in open session affix his signature hereto to the end that these may become law. First reading resolutions.
We have none.
Second reading.
We have none.
Miscellaneous unfinished business.
Closed session. The meeting of the Board of Aldermen shall be closed to the public under the the provisions of Section 610021 of the Missouri Revised Codes in order to permit the members of the board to discuss matters relating to the hiring, firing, discipline, or promoting of employees of the Board of Aldermen.
Alderman from the 22nd, you're recognized on the motion for closed session.
Mr. President, members of the board, I move to go into closed session pursuant to Missouri statute.
Moved by the Alderman from the 22nd, seconded by the Alderman from the 10th and Alderman from the 1st. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Tyus. Alderwoman Middlebrook. Alderman Bosley. Alderwoman Hubbard. Alderwoman Ingracia. Alderman Kotar. Alderwoman Rice. Alderman Gunther. Alderman Vollmer. Alderwoman Martin. Alderwoman Murphy. Alderwoman Howard. Alderwoman Green. Alderman Oldenburg. Alderman Rhodey. Alderman Todd. Alderwoman Davis. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Muhammad. Alderman Boyd. Alderman Vaccaro. Alderman Narayan. Alderman Cone. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Alderwoman Boyd. Alderwoman Navarro. President Reed.
Aye.
Alderman Vaccaro. Alderman Cone. 27 aye votes.
By a vote, staying the motion, Alderman from the 22nd, we will now go into closed session. I'm going to ask that STL TV turn off all of the cameras. Ask anyone that's in the galleries to please exit the galleries and for the marshals to stand by the doors. And anyone who's not a member of the Board of Aldermen, please exit the chambers at this time. We'll return to our session. Announcements.
Wednesday, March 18th, Rules will have a meeting at 10 a.m. in the Leisure Room. That is the extent of the announcements.
Any further announcements? Alderman from the 1st.
Lord, we are not having a rules meeting on the 18th. We will be having one before we come back here so that we can clear up everybody whose bills are been assigned to rules. We're going to work but we're going to take a week off, okay? So we will not be having a rules meeting. I also want to announce that we will be having an intergovernmental affairs meeting, one before we come back here to clear up some freeholders issues. So, but it's not going to, it will be on our calendar, and I will let the clerk and you and everyone know when we're going to do those things, okay?
All right, thank you. Alderman from the 14th.
Yes, I would like to commemorate those people that came from the Emerald Isle, Ireland, many years ago to populate portions of our city. We will not have the St. Patrick's Day parade, but I would like everybody to remember those people that arrived here as indentured servants and gave their time and resources to the city of St. Louis to make it the city it is today. Aaron Gobra.
All right, thank you. Also, for anyone, you all know that we have 2 chairmanships open, Health and Intergovernmental Affairs. So if you are lower ranked in seniority than the 2 aldermen that we have to replace, let my office know right away so that we can move you to that new chairmanship, right? And then we can offer someone your seat also. So if you are chairman now, right, and if you want to move to one of the open committees, if it's one that you did not have an opportunity to select when we caucused the last time, you now have that opportunity to select. Please let us know that today. We'd like to make those appointments ASAP by the end of the day, hopefully today. So again, look at the list of seniority If you're lower seniority than the two aldermen that have left, and you'd like to move from the committee that you currently chair to a new committee, let us know right away. Alderman from the 5th.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. I thought my colleague from the 22nd was going to mention this, but I would just like to invite everybody out. I never get the birthday shout out down here because we're always out of session when we do it. My birthday is March 25th, which I'll be celebrating in Alderman Balmer's ward at Hill Cigar. So if anybody wants to come out and celebrate, then I'll have several other events. I'm treading on thin ice right here throughout the month of March. And so I just had to stand up for myself because I never get birthday shouts out because we're always down for a month. So I'll be 43. I'm getting old.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Alderman from the 17th.
Yes, Mr. President, this is regarding your previous announcement, and I just want a clarification on the intergovernmental affairs. Will there be a new chairman like
Yes.
ASAP? So
Yes.
that new chairman will be presiding over the next meeting. Will
Yes.
you be doing new assignments to replace the vacancies then?
Yes, and we're also going to replace the vacancies also. But yes, that'll be done today. If we receive the information from everybody who would like to move to a different chairmanship. Alderman from the 1st, is there anything further related to that? Yeah, I said,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, yes.
Oh, I was getting ready. I didn't know you were going to make that. So that was my announcement before you made that. So I was going to get up and say, then I yield to the chair. That's good because I probably got about 50,000 gray hairs because of this. So that is fine. Whoever wants to take this over, they'll find out how much fun it is. Okay. I was treading on thin ice, trying to be the vice chair and the chair at the same time. So
Yeah.
I don't want to step on the new chair's toes, and whoever gets it, I'll be glad to bring you up to speed, okay?
All right, thanks for the work. Alderman from 13th.
Yes, I am one of those proud Irish descendants that Alderman from the 14th was speaking about. On my mother's side, she always said, my grandmother always said that we were pig in the parlor Irish as opposed to the lace curtain Irish like Mr. Malamphy up there. But we're all here, and we're glad we made it this far. And you notice we didn't go further west either. We decided St. Louis was just fine. But my major announcement is I would like to remind everybody to support their local fish fries at their VFW halls and their churches and their parishes because they are major fundraisers for most of these organizations. So please go out and have fish until Easter on Friday. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Alderman from the 27th.
Okay, Mr. President, the Alderwoman from the 2nd and myself are speaking for the St. Louis Board of Aldermen. So we're speaking for everybody in the room, and we wanted to recognize Employees Appreciation Month. So all the Alder people have gotten together, and we have pizza and salad in there for you guys. And we have gift cards to give you to let you know that we appreciate everything you all do. All the employees. So Alderwoman Middlebrook will pass out the cards that we got together to give to you all. You're going to make me cry because I love doing this stuff. And so we just can't tell you enough how we appreciate what you all do, dealing with our stress level, dealing with our trying to solve problems, and you all are always stepping up to the plate. So thank you all from the aldermen of the Alder people of the St. Louis Alderman Board. Y'all know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Alderman from the 2nd.
Thank you, Mr. President. So for those who don't have an idea as to who they are, with the support staff we have Miss Tracy, Janice, Teresa, Chanel, Tina, Lisa, Sharita, Mary C., Mary R., Sherry, Mr. Terry, Lou, Mr. Maurice, and Mr. Gerard. So we do appreciate everything that you do for us.
Alderman from 22nd, but Alderman from 22nd, is that Alderman from former Alderman from 3rd, if you would want to please join me up. Alderman from the 3rd, would you join me up here with Dice? Alderman from the 22nd. Alderman from the 22nd.
Board, I know my esteemed colleague from the 5th think I forgot about her, but I did not. It is too bad that her birthday comes when we're out of session, but we're going to celebrate her birthday on March the 19th. We'll be at the Last Hotel at 1501 Washington Avenue from 6 to 9 p.m., so come out and celebrate with Miss Alderwoman Tamika Hubbard on the 19th.
Alderman from the 8th.
Thank you, Mr. President and colleagues. I want to, some of you were present this morning at the meeting with the mayor's office regarding the COVID-19 virus that is coming around. I really just want to stress to all of my colleagues to please be vigilant about the announcements that are coming out of the health department, that are coming from the mayor's office. The county executive's office did just today, a few minutes ago, restrict events to 250 people or less. So that is much more significant than the mayor's office did. I don't want to cause panic. We don't want to cause fear. There is valid reason to be concerned about a virus that has had devastating impact across the world and is also moving through the United States. And please keep your residents informed of what you know. Please pay attention to the news. Look for reputable sources of information, and the more that we do on the front end in a health crisis of this nature, the more we do to assist our hospitals and their staff, and as well as people who currently have diseases who need treatment of all kind. And if we flood our hospitals with this COVID-19 virus, then they can't have access to their regular treatment as well. And so this is a all hands on deck situation. It has been declared a pandemic. It is more contagious. It does have a higher mortality rate than the common flu. And we already have a lot of flu cases that are going around in the area. So I do just, please understand that no one cancels events with any joy, but the concern is for everyone's health, because you might be able to survive it, but you might carry it to someone who might not be able to. And again, if our hospitals are overwhelmed, people who need treatment can't get it. And I would ask Mr. President also if we could consider emergency measures if the board is needed over this break, that we find ways to call us together, or remote, by remote, but telecommunications or video or something that we can all be working together for the good of our constituents and for the city, as this is sort of an unprecedented event in the city. And we've gotten lots of great press for what we did in 1918 to slow the spread of the Spanish flu. We had a very low death rate coming from that. And I think those lessons are well learned now, that the more we do on the front end to prevent transmission and prevent more people from getting sick, the better. So thank you for your time, and please just take care of one another.
All right, thank you. Any further announcements? Alderman from the 3rd, do you want to announce anything special? Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Thank you all. So never at a loss for words. I did want to bring my dad down to see Sherry off. She's been a part of my life and his life for an extremely long time. Been knowing Sherry since I was a little boy, and I promised her that I would bring my dad here. Oh, there she goes. I told her last week he was coming, so I made sure I got him up this morning and brought him out. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for bringing me.
No problem. Nope. Never mind.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for allowing me to have an opportunity to say to Sharon how great she was when I was an alderman of the 3rd Ward. She certainly was one of the best people to serve here at the Board of Aldermen ever, and I was down here a couple years. Thank you, Sherry.
As everybody, if you all would please stand for me, and let's give a big round of applause to Alderman Freeman. Bob, I tell you what, Freeman was my mentor, and he probably was here long enough to have been Terry Kennedy's mentor, Sharon Ty's. I mean, Freeman brought us all up, so I am so honored to see you here today. When you walked in the room, that just made my heart jump. So thank you, and I appreciate you, and hopefully we're doing you well. Let's give him one more big round of applause. Sherry, you had an impact on everybody. Congratulations. Any further announcements? Any further announcements? Any further announcements? Alderman from the 22nd, you're recognized on the motion to excuse.
All aldermen are present.
All right. You're recognized on the motion to adjourn.
Mr. President, I move that we adjourn to next Friday, March 20th at 10 a.m. Uh-oh. Y'all don't want to come back? I'm sorry. Mr. President, I move that we adjourn until April 20th, 2020 at 10 a.m.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 22nd, seconded by the Alderman from the 10th. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Stand adjourned.